This is a conversation with a lawyer, a human rights advocate, a politician, and a mouthpiece for women in the country. I'm talking about Honorable Nana Oye Bampoe Ado, and she's a human rights lawyer and the first minister for gender, children, and social protection. Let me give you a bit of background. She has also worked with civil society as a regional coordinator for the Africa Office of the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative. She is currently an advisory board member of the World Bank Partnership for Economic Inclusion. She was the secretary to the NDC 2020 Manifesto Committee, secretary to the NDC Conflict Resolution Committee, and is the secretary to the NDC 2024 Manifesto Committee. She is the chair of the Gender, Children, and Social Protection Committee. Nana Oye, it's good to have you on the show. Good morning and welcome to AM Exclusive.
Hello, good morning. How are you? I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear. Yeah, I'm fantastic. Great. And it's so great to have you chat with us this morning on AM Exclusive. So let's start with your role as secretary on the NDC 2024 Manifesto. How was the entire experience for you? I mean, this isn't the first time. In the last election year too, you were the secretary on the Manifesto Committee. How was the experience?
Yeah. Yes, that's very true. It was exciting. It was a lot of work. We had 22 committees in place across three main thematic areas. We had finance and economy. We also had human development and also governance. So these were the three main blocks, building blocks that made up the Resetting Ghana 2024 Manifesto. And there was a need to coordinate all these committees, come up with proposals, look at the prevailing conditions in Ghana, issues and challenges, and come up with proposals with the underlining social democratic ideology of the NDC. So putting the interests of the people of Ghana first and looking at what their needs are and how we could carve proposals across all the sectors that would address the needs of the Ghanaian. That was at the heart. And then listening to Ghanaians to find out exactly what they also wanted to see in a manifesto that would bring hope and that would really set their lives.
Right. In terms of what Ghanaians want to see, I mean, we saw the former president go around touring various regions, even engaging CSOs and other corporate bodies to hear them out. But you, as the secretary on that manifesto committee, and your rich background and experiences, what was your unique contribution to drafting this document?
This was a collective teamwork. It was collective, it was teamwork.
Okay.
Every single member of the 22 committees, every single level of the NDC party, from the branch to the ward, to the constituency, to the regional, to the national executives, especially our communications directorate, did a lot of work. Right. And the flag bearer himself, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Right. He attended our meetings, he attended our sessions, he also got involved in the discussions. We had a national dialogue at Pediasi Lodge. Yeah. He was present. Members of his office, the Office of the Flag Bearer, were present. And also Parliament, the minority caucus in Parliament, were all members of the committee, were also members, some were members of the Manifesto Committee. So it was right across. And we also invited the members of the public to submit memoranda. So a lot of stakeholders submitted memoranda. We reached out under our director of CSOs, Dr. Otokono, who eventually became the chair of the planning committee for the launch of our manifesto. He actually led us to reach out to civil society groups, to labor unions across the country. His Excellency himself also had stakeholder engagements with, for instance, the fintech ecosystem. He met with cooperative cocoa farm cooperatives in Kumasi. He met with Guta. He met with artisans in Accra. And also the different committees also met with stakeholders, for instance, nurses, doctors, We met with persons with disabilities. So it was a lot of work, a lot of engagement to solicit views and also solicit issues on the ground to help us to carve out realistic proposals that would lead to the Ghana that we all want.
How confident are you that this document, this collective efforts put into this document actually meets Ghanaians at the point of their needs and will earn you that mandate come December 7th? How confident are you?
Yes, I'm very confident that it meets the needs of the Ghanaians because it was a bottoms-up approach. It is all with the methodology that we applied as a social democratic party. And that is why you see sector by sector, the comments, the commentary, the discussions. We have Security Guards Association, they see themselves in it. Private schools engaged, they see themselves in it. We have the artisans. We met barbers in Esikado Kitan. We met persons with disability in Shama, that is the gender committee. They see themselves, they read the proposals, and they see that we have addressed their issues. Specifically mentioned the creatives, the creative arts industry and stakeholders met with His Excellency. He shared his ideas with them, and they also shared their issues, and they see themselves in the proposals that we have put in under creative arts, under our Black Star experience. There was a major issue with the fiscal and monetary sector. And you'd realize that when you read through the proposals, you see how we are looking at restoring Ghana, restoring confidence in the Ghanaian economy. So it is very relevant. It speaks to the issues of the ordinary Ghanaian because we did engage. One engagement that I would point out is meeting with the owners of cattle, and they talked about the problems they had with grazing. They met with the Manifesto committee, and we explained to them how would zone out areas to avoid the conflicts between the landowners and also the owners of cattle. And they brought along all the those involved in the value chain. So women who do wagashi, women who use the milk, the cow milk, and get products. They also were part of the engagement. They told us what their issues and problems are. And some of these have been addressed in our section on agriculture and agribusiness.
Okay. I want to spend a few minutes to unravel you before we continue probing the things that you do. I mean, you have been in advocacy, human rights, and women's center, gender, at the forefront of gender fights for a really long time. So what really drew you to human rights law and advocacy in the first place?
Well, I believe I'm an empath, and I love helping people. I love working with people, and I believe that is what I'm very passionate about, ensuring that rights of people are not abused, rights are not violated. So it was after doing corporate Ghana, after going to court and litigation, to court, I decided in 1998 that I would, I would do human rights. So I went and did a master's at the University of Pretoria, human rights and democratization in Africa. And that set me on the path. But even before then, I was volunteering at the International Federation of Women Lawyers Clinic. So I was doing a lot of pro bono cases at a point in time, about 30 or more. And it was very fulfilling for me. So I just realized that was my path, and I followed that path, and I'm happy I did.
And this path led you to become the first Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection in Ghana. Not an easy feat. What were your primary objectives when you assumed that office, and would you say you met them?
It is for Ghanaians to say whether I met them or not, but I am very grateful to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, despite all the, all the whatever that happened. I mean, like having confidence in me and appointing me as an NDC as a Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection. When I assumed my seat, I did an assessment, and together with a team at the ministry, and I'm shouting out to all of them for all the good work, Mr. Amuhimson, Chief Director, and everybody. And I told them that we were going to be the best ministry across the MDAs. To the vision was to ensure that we had a strong policy and legal framework, because without policy, without law, we're not going anywhere. And also have an implementation plan, and also be more results oriented in our approach, and ensure that we're serving the people of Ghana. So that was what we did. We came up with policies on school feeding, policies on children, the gender policy. We had 5 policies, and then we also came up with draft bills. We were only able to get one passed, the Children's Act amendment, but we had the affirmative action bill, also the cards, the property rights or spouses bill, and we also had the interstate succession bill and the aged bill. Unfortunately, because we lost power, we couldn't see that through. But I'm happy that the affirmative action bill has finally been passed. So that was the main thrust. Social protection was entirely new. This was the vision of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. He wanted to create a mechanism in Ghana that would ensure that each and every poor and vulnerable person in Ghana would receive any government support that was due to poor and vulnerable people. So we set up the Social Protection Directorate, and then we also mechanized LEAP and ensured that we had a household registry supported by the World Bank, the American government, and by the UK government. We set up the household registry so that we had data on each and every poor and vulnerable person in Ghana who earned who was surviving on below $3 a day. So you could look at the database, and we started with Upper West, poor pregnant women, poor pregnant girls, which communities they lived in, what they had in terms of assets, whether they were educated or not, and what they would need from government so that they would have that sort of livelihood that government could support them to have. So that was very unique. It's actually the first in West Africa. And we did a great job with LEAP. And it was actually the second best in the whole of Africa. So there were a lot of feds, and we're very happy with the team at the Ministry of Gender for the solid work and the legacy that we left.
Right. But I mean, if you look at talking about social protection and even gender issues, how would you evaluate the current state of gender and social protection policies, and which areas do you think require urgent attention as we speak? Even in the face of the bill just passed, the affirmative action bill just passed.
Yes. First, I'll go on social protection. Social protection has unfortunately been politicized by the NPP. Just last week, I got a report where they have defaulted in LEAP payments for some time, and now they're giving some of the beneficiaries, they're actually telling them to vote for NPP. What we avoided as NDC was to politicize social protection interventions, and I would say that should be stopped. And there's a need to ensure that to address and reduce poverty and to create that safety net and cushion for the poor and vulnerable in Ghana, there's a need for consistent, sustained payment of the LEAP, that every 2 months, this woman in Zabzugu, or this woman in Bukom, or this widow or pensioner, and knows that he or she is going to receive her LEAP payment so that she can plan around that. That is not happening. So social protection has been poorly managed. We saw what happened during COVID, when, notwithstanding the fact that we had the household registry, that could straight off provide data for the NPP government to use to target the vulnerable people who are suffering under COVID. What did they do? They were not able to distribute the dry rations and packages. They prepared food, and it was a big mess. We all saw what happened. So we have retrogressed in terms of providing a safety net for the poor and vulnerable. And so you can see poverty has increased. Unemployment is now 14.7%. And that has a direct bearing on the livelihood of Ghanaians, has a direct bearing on hardships face. If we look at food inflation, it's gone up. How is the NPP government addressing this and ensuring that that orphan, that disabled person, that woman who worked in the informal sector and doesn't have a pension, how are they being provided for? It is the responsibility of the government of Ghana to do that. So that is my pain now with the legacy we left NPP as far as social protection is concerned and what is occurring now.
Right.
With respect to the affirmative action bill, I'm really excited that it has finally been passed. And if you look at the NDC manifesto and agenda, you find out that we have committed to implementing and operationalizing the act. What we're going to do is that we're going to provide resources for the Gender Equality Committee to be able to work. We are also going to support the key stakeholders, the judiciary, the armed forces, public services, civil servants, the civil service, and the Electoral Commission, and also private sector and civil society organizations for us to reach the 30% minimum target of women representation in all these sectors, as per Schedule 1, Schedule A of the Act. So we have committed to this in our manifesto, and we have generally committed to a minimum of 30% representation for all political offices under the next NDC government.
You mentioned civil society organizations. What role do you see them, and sometimes international partners like UNICEF and the rest, what role do you see them playing in mitigating the impact of the picture of neglect that you've painted in terms of social protection and gender issues? Where do CSOs come in?
Yes, they play a very critical role, and I'll just share my experiences as a cabinet minister from 2013 to 2016. So quite a number of the development partners supported us to strengthen and build up the Ministry of Gender. You have the USAID, and I'll mention support that they gave. Looking at LEAP, we realized that in some parts of the northern region, Upper East specifically, we had poor women, pregnant women who were malnourished. And so sometimes when they gave birth to children, because of iodine deficiency, these children did not develop as we would wish them to. So USAID came in together with UNICEF to support the extension of LEAP to all pregnant women and women who had children below the age of 2 years. The money was given, the LEAP money was given directly to these women. So what happened? Now they had resources and money to feed their children, to feed while they were pregnant, and of course reduce the incidence of iodine deficiency and have healthy children who would grow. Now we had the World Bank. World Bank supported us with $51 million to develop the household registry. We were trying to get them to help us to support and reform school feeding, but then we lost power. And the UK government helped over decades. They helped with LEAP. So they actually provided resources, 50% of the financial resources that we provided for poor and vulnerable LEAP beneficiaries in Ghana. They also helped us to mechanize and provide electronic transfer of LEAP through now, through the plastic card.
Right.
And so that's helped to increase financial inclusion for the poor and the vulnerable in Ghana. We had other partners, the Danish and others, who also helped us, for instance, to better coordinate response to addressing gender-based violence in Ghana, providing strengthening capacity of the judiciary, strengthening capacity of the Ministry of Justice, together with the Ministry of Gender and the Ghana Police Service to address gender-based violence.
Right.
We had the US government providing $5 million to help us to address human trafficking, together with the Ministry of Interior. So they provide us strong support. But it's very instructive that you had as a sector to ensure that it was your agenda that was being implemented, and they were very supportive in that regard.
Would you say they're
the
still
government again.
Now, would you say
And with
that
civil
as we speak,
society, we instituted regular meetings with the civil society groups every month. Sometimes we're not able to, but we had engagement with key stakeholders, especially in social protection and also in gender, where we would tell them what our plans are and they would provide advice. And there was also a tripartite committee of civil society, development partners, and the Ministry of Gender. We had regular meetings every quarter on our plans, and they would also provide advice and support us, especially when we went into the communities to work. So this was how civil society partnered with government of Ghana, and also development partners partnered with the government of Ghana for our social protection and gender.
Would you say, just briefly, would you say that as we speak, the CSOs are doing enough to propel our development agenda?
They are doing more than enough, and I applaud civil society for the work. Even in this manifesto drafting process, we have had a lot of engagements with civil society. Gender groups have met with us, with the Manifesto Committee of the NDC. We also had the disability groups meeting, and also the social protection oriented civil society groups also meeting. So it's been a very good engagement, providing quality information, data, research findings on what is actually happening on the ground. So it's been a very useful, relevant, timely collaboration between the NDC Manifesto Committee and civil society groups. And we really welcome and appreciate their participation. And even post the launch of the manifesto, we're looking at further engagements. What we're doing, which is unique, which has never been done, is that we're also looking at implementation plans. So as we speak now, our 22 committees together with the NDC party is looking at how are we going to implement, what is our plan, implementation and costing plans. It's in progress, and we will communicate this to the people of Ghana in due course.
Right. Let's stay on human rights advocacy in a broader context. I'm curious to know how the Ghana situation mirrors or reflects on a broader or on the continental level. You were the former regional coordinator for the Africa Office of the Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative. What would you say are the most common or most pressing human rights issues in advancing human rights within the African context? And how different or similar is the situation in Ghana?
Yes, within the African context, I'll say, there's a tension between the African culture and tradition on one hand and human rights on the other hand. But we have been able to manage this very well. And we have laws at the regional level being implemented and enforced by the Africa Union. That has really helped. We had the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. We have laws for children, and we also have the additional protocol on the rights of women, that is the Maputo protocol. We also have our development agenda, I think 2060 or so. And the AU have also created mechanisms to ensure that human rights violations are addressed. So we have the African Court, and we also have the Committee on Human and People's Rights. We have that committee. At the ECOWAS level, we also have mechanisms to address human rights, like the ECOWAS courts. And I'm sure you've heard of some of the decisions that they have come up with. So in terms of legal remedies and in terms of addressing human rights issues, quite a lot has gone on in Ghana and in Africa, and every government is supposed to report on the extent to which we have implemented these charters in Africa. So that has progressed. We also have the Pan-African Parliament that has also done quite a lot of work, but we still have challenges. And when I look at protection of human rights, I'm looking at addressing the bread and butter issues, the everyday issues. or let's say the kinky and fish issues.
Right.
So how has it helped to address poverty? How has it helped to reduce poverty? How has it helped to ensure press freedom? And now that we have the social media and we have individuals also, how has it addressed? So sometimes we say that the violations are going on. Sometimes we're looking at conflict. We're looking at the Niger and other places worsening poverty. We're looking at the Sahel region and what is happening. We're looking at Ethiopia, and we're looking at Sudan, and we're looking at the conflicts going on. DRC Congo, there's also conflict going on and a fight for the resources. So in terms of looking at systems of governance and us against protection of human rights, we still have issues at the AU or at the Africa level, which we need to address. Is very critical. And that is where the role of civil society cannot be diminished. Civil society, right at that Africa regional level, is also doing a lot to hold African governments accountable. And that is remarkable.
You're saying
so
that...
it's work in progress.
Work in progress. And I mean, you've painted a picture of a very pivotal intersection between economic policies and social protection, right? Because it's like an all-encompassing situation. If the economy is flourishing, social protection issues will be addressed. So where are we failing in Ghana? Where are we failing in that intersection?
Where we're failing critically in Ghana now is the politicization and the lack of priority, and the lack of vision of the NPP government in addressing the economic mess in which we are. Junk status, we have not been able to honor our debt obligations. Food inflation is shooting through the roof. I was trying to buy some local rice in Idra. I have one of my colleagues in Idra. I said, I want local rice. He said, it's 2,000. A bag of Gary, he says, is 600. This is Kwame Jr. He says it's 600. And food inflation is a huge issue. I was in a shaman on 1st of July for a program with the aged, and there was one 82-year-old woman who said she's been able to educate her 3 sons. They have finished university, they are unemployed, and sometimes she drinks water and sleeps because she's not able to provide food for herself. So these are the challenges, and the role of the government is to provide a safety net and to address some of these issues, and it is not happening. Why is it not happening? We have so much money that has come into Ghana, but unfortunately, poverty has actually shot through the roof, and we are not able to help the people of Ghana, especially the poor people of Ghana. And that is very regrettable.
Let's talk about women in power and politics. What do you think is the most challenging barrier to women flourishing in politics? And you don't have to limit to the Ghana context, but all over the world, we know that there are fewer women in politics than the men. What do you think is the most pivotal issue there? Is it that men have a more, they have a stronger bandwidth to accommodate the insults and all the other things that politics or the politicking part of the game comes with, and women just don't want to deal with it? What's your assessment of what's happening there?
Well, it's the rough and tumble of politics. I mean, like looking at Ghana, when you hold yourself out to participate in politics at that level. It could be the unit committee level, it could be the district assembly level, it could be parliament or within the political structures. You are exposing yourself, like you said, to abuse and denigration, and quickly they'll look at your sex life and all that. But we must know that we have to be resilient. And as women, we have what it takes to partner with men to ensure that Ghana is on the right path and trajectory for progress. And if it is really the middle income status, the middle income status that we want, we don't have a choice, irrespective of the insults, irrespective of the denigration. We move and focus and partner with men to lead and to provide the solutions that will help the people of Ghana live meaningful lives, get a job, and put 3 meals on the table. And at the same time, we know that we will get government, we will get civil society, we will get traditional leaders to support in addressing the obstacles that prevent women from optimizing their talents, their resources, their strengths, and bringing onto the table of development in Ghana their skill set.
Right.
We have to ensure as women that notwithstanding all these challenges, we forge ahead. One key factor is also education. One key factor is education, and that is being addressed, but we need to do a lot more. And another key factor is the cultural and social environment in which we find ourselves, where traditionally one of the proverbs would be that it is the cock that crows to announce dawn. It is not the hen. So that voice of women, that voice of a woman in a public sphere sometimes is not normal or is not ordinary. Some people find it strange, and so you would face obstacles. And that's why we ask the political parties to support women to give of themselves. And I know they've been doing that. In NDC, that is being done a lot. You see a lot of mentoring, our political leaders, even at the national level, at all levels, partner with women, encourage women to take up branch women, like branch positions. And so you see young women taking up key positions, and that is very welcome. And we just have to move. We have to move. Thick skin, move.
Just move. I like that. And I like what you said about it is that the cock that crows to announce the day and not the hen. I like that. So where does feminism come in? I've sat in circles where they say feminism is a lost cause. They say that, I mean, the evolution of feminism, coming down from the first wave where it was about legal rights and suffrage, to second wave where it was about equality and anti-discrimination, then to intersectionality and individualism. At this point, do we still need, what's your argument? Do we still need the fight for equality or equity as what feminism strives to do?
Spot on. Feminism is relevant. I am a radical feminist. And I believe in equality because I know that women have the gray matter and can put a lot on the table when we provide them with the resources and when we give them the opportunity. Women can deliver. The evidence is clear, research is clear, even in terms of corruption. When you put a woman before the pot of money, the woman is able to preserve the pot of money. The woman is multi-dimensional. She's able to multitask and do so many things at the same time. But then at the same time, she has certain challenges. God has given her that, that role of nurturing, that role of giving birth, and that may provide certain limitations as far as optimizing and harnessing her talents and being able to get her to give of her best. And so affirmative action and other support comes in to address these limitations that she has as a result of the natural role that she has been given in terms of birthing. And when she's giving this support, the sky is the limit.
Right.
And when you look at other countries like Rwanda, and even in Ghana, in 1960, when Kwame Nkrumah passed a law for affirmative action and opened the doors for women to be in parliament, we saw what they did. Justice Annie Jiage, we saw what they did. Mabel Dovdankwa, we saw what she did, even in 1954. These are strong women who have done a lot of work. And that is why we have consistently sustained the fight for feminism. It's not about lording it over men, no. It's about ensuring that women are able to also of themselves come up and provide and harness their energies to partner with men to push Ghana forward in the right direction. So it's actually providing women with those opportunities and creating that enabling environment for women and hitting hard at the gender norms that prevents women from optimizing their talents and from optimizing the resources, their experience, and also the skill set that they would need to support in developing our country and even in developing ourselves. I mean, individually, yes.
And I'm curious, we should be wrapping up, but I'm curious to know how you do it. How do you balance the commitments to human rights and all the work you do, even in politics, and the demands on you as a woman, as a mother, as, you know, just being feminine? How do you balance that?
Well, for me personally, my convictions, I'm very true to my convictions of integrity, of honesty, of hard work, and helping my party, the NDC, helping the people of Ghana to get onto the right path and direction. So improving of myself, increasing my knowledge, and also using my experience to help people. My convictions are very clear and true, and I'm focused, and I reach out and get the necessary support and work with a team. And this is how I'm just resilient and of course the grace of God. But I'm very clear as to what we need to do as leadership, what we need to do as Ghanaians to ensure that we're on the right path. And so I don't get distracted very easily. Sometimes, yes, you get derailed, but then we focus. It's very, very important for us to keep our eyes on the prize and to have Ghana, the interest of Ghana and the interest of the people of Ghana. So I'm very clear in my conviction that whatever I do, it has to support the interest of the people of Ghana. And I believe that the NDC party, as a social democratic party, has the right framework, has the right team. And so I'm happy to be part of that.
Should we expect you to be president come soon? Or, I mean, within the NDC and even on, you know,
now we're looking at 7th of December.
Right.
We have launched our Manifesto, the Resetting Ghana Manifesto, that is people-oriented, that has realistic proposals across sectors. We want Ghanaians to believe and to trust His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and the NDC, that we will restore hope in Ghana, we will reset Ghana, we will reset Ghana to address corruption. We will reset Ghana to address state capture. We will reset Ghana to address nepotism. We will reset Ghana to address abuse of office. We will reset Ghana to ensure efficient economic management of our resources. And also we reset Ghana for quality education, for health, and also reset Ghana and create the Women's Bank that will help women. We reset Ghana so that every person with disability will be assured of a job.
I'm still curious to know what the next phase of your career is. I mean, both within the NDC and in your broader advocacy work. Should we expect that you'll be part of the 60 ministers that the former president is promising that he'll run his government with?
I'm sure I'll be part of the NDC agenda to reset Ghana. That I am sure, very sure of.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us for
Thank
this
you.
conversation. What would be your final words to those watching us right now?
Well, my final word is that 7th of December 2024, the people of Ghana, it's a very critical day where every single voter in Ghana, please reflect on the path you want Ghana to take. The path of restoration, the path of re-independence, the path of prosperity, the path of jobs. And in John Dramani Mahama, we have a nation builder who will restore hope and who will rebuild Ghana by resetting Ghana. So vote for John Dramani Mahama and the NDC on the 7th of December, 2024. And I shout out to the people of Adenta and everybody else. And thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Each and everybody campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Nana Oye Bampoe, a human rights lawyer and the First Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, the Secretary for the NDC Manifesto Committee for 2020 and 2024. It's been an insightful conversation. I wish you the very best of the day.
Thank you.
Right, and that ends AM Exclusive on the AM show. But coming up next, Joy News and an amalgam of professional bodies is organizing a public speaking event on the theme Transformed Individuals, Transforming the World, a challenge for the religious community in Ghana. The speakers are Dr. Philip Engman, Dr. Mrs. Yvonne Yirinchura Isaku, Ambassador Umar Sanda Ahmed, and the main speaker is Reverend Dr. Joseph Kofi Entry. The moderator is Philip Osei-Bonsu. He's host Ekosi saying on Asempa FM. And this is coming off on 17th of September 2024. It starts at 6:30 p.m. at the British Council Hall. And so for more information, please contact us 0244-220-427. And this event is powered by Joy News and Joy FM. When we come back, I'll tell you a bit more about the shirt I'm wearing. I'll be right back.